Hi, this is Elliot Eisenberg of Graphs and Laughs, here to catch you up to date on the latest in residential sales data. In Hillsborough County, single-fam home prices appreciated 4.3%. That was the strongest single-fam home price appreciation across all three counties. Multi-fam home prices appreciated a little bit less, 3.5%. As for activity, sales activity, it declined for both single and multifamily. For single family, it declined almost 18%, and for multifamily, it declined about half as much, almost 9%. Sales price as a function of list price for single fam prices year over year increased from 96.3% to 97.3%, a nice increase. Conversely, for multifam, it declined slightly from 96.3% a year ago to 96.1% now. Pending sales fell 8% for single family and a larger 22.2% for multifamily. Lastly, active inventories, which increased across all three counties dramatically, increased almost 29% for single family and 75% for multifamily. In Pasco County, single-fam home prices went up a strong 4.1%, but multi-fam prices went up an even stronger 4.9%. That was the strongest percentage, biggest percentage across all three counties and both types of properties. Sales activity declined 12.2% on the single-fam side, but went up a strong 8.9% on the multi. That was the best performance across all three counties and both types of properties. Sales price as a function of list price increased for both single and multi-fam. For single family, it went up from 96 to 97.4. That's the highest percentage for all three counties and both types of properties. While for multifam, it went up from 96.4 to 97.3. Pending sales activity fell 12.1% for single fam, but went up a strong 7.2% for multifam. That was the strongest increase across all three counties and both types of properties. Lastly, inventory, which increased across the board for all three counties and both types of properties, grew almost 54% for single fam and almost 85% for multifam. As you can see, Pasco County had a really terrific year-over-year change in total activity and prices. In Pinellas County, single-fam home prices went up 3.6% and multi-fam home prices appreciated 3.4%. Very similar to what was going on in both Hillsborough and Pasco counties. As for sales activity, it's on the single-fam side, it slipped 9.2%. That was the best performance for single-fam across all three counties. Whereas for multi-fam, it declined larger amount, 21.6%. Sales price as a percentage of original listing price declined for both single and multifamily compared to a year ago. A year ago, single fam was at 96.1, it slipped to 95.5, whereas for multifam, it declined from 95.9 to 94.3. Pending sales increased 0.2%, the strongest single fam performance across all three counties, whereas multifam pending sales activity declined 20.6%. Lastly, inventories increased dramatically everywhere, but they increased a little more in Pinellas County, 63% for single family and 91% for multifamily. Turning our attention to the national economy, while GDP is slowing, it's doing it at a very gingerly pace. And as a result of that, both unemployment and inflation are weakening at rates that the Fed are not particularly happy about. Let me explain. The unemployment rate was as low as 3.4% about a year ago. It then went up to a high of 3.9, and now it's recently fallen to 3.8. This is sort of the wrong direction. The Fed wants it to go up a little, not a lot, but a little bit more, and not retracing decline from where it had been just a few months ago. And on the inflation front, the decline in inflation almost appears to be stalling by many metrics. And this has got the Fed somewhat concerned, and markets. If you'll remember, for a long time back in late 2023, people were very pessimistic. Interest rates increased in October and November. Then markets got very excited and interest rates fell in December and January, only to go back up. And they kind of stalled for a little bit of time. Now they're going back up. It's as if it's October and November of 23. I think markets are overreacting to some extent, but no one knows the future and no one knows what the inflation numbers will bring in the next month or two. That said, the expectation that markets had that there would be 3 quarter-point cuts in the Fed funds rate in the near future, which would translate probably into similar declines in the 30-year mortgage rate, have all been postponed. The expectation is now for maybe 2 rate cuts, one in September and one in December, or maybe one in October, and that's it, depending on how inflation numbers come out. So that as a result of the hope that interest rates would drop considerably at the Fed funds level and at the 30-year mortgage rate have clearly been dashed. So this is going to take a little bit longer for the pivot to take place, and it will take place more slowly than we thought. My last concern is always the same one, is the fear of recession. The longer the Fed keeps rates at their high level that they are right now, the higher the probability something goes wrong and a recession occurs. But so far, consumer spending has been very strong and the US economy has been remarkably resilient. Let's cross our fingers and hope it stays this way.